DeSanto Propane is 4 generations strong as a trustworthy family-owned business with unmatched customer service. Go online at DeSantoPropane.com for more info or call toll-free at 1-800-752-4574.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into Fresh Takes. Russo and Felice. I am Paul Russo. Surprisingly not Nick Felice yet, but next to me is Nick Felice, who is surprisingly not Paul Russo yet.
You know, those photos of us in the intro there. That's from the last time we did the Seneca 7.
That's true. I was thinking about that because that's true. Well, not the last time anymore.
No, because we did it just a couple weeks ago, so
Correct.
That's kind of cool.
So, kind of going into today's podcast a little bit wide open, as we kind of do this time of year to a degree. NBA playoffs, some NHL Game 7s from over the weekend to talk about.
Horse racing.
I forgot about
terrible again.
No, I beg to differ with that statement.
I'm talking about the sovereignty news yesterday.
Oh.
It's ruining the sport.
That's fair, but also I won money.
It was a great
I
derby.
won money on Saturday.
It was a great derby. Had like 21 million views, which I think it might be a record for TV. And
really?
Yeah, and it was a great derby, but you see it all the time. The Kentucky Derby winner doesn't run in the Preakness. It's like, shows, where's the integrity for the sport?
Integrity. So, yeah, a lot to get to. Let's handle some podcast business really quickly. I think a couple more of our sponsors, just like DeSanto Propane. We got Dewey's Tavern. You can check them out. They're walking distance from downtown Seneca Falls. Bridge Street Bridge. Head on over it. You can play Quick Draw Lottery, 19 televisions for all your sporting events. Great food for lunch or dinner with bocce, dart, and pool leagues. You can check them out online at Dewey'sThirdWard.com. And, I just lost my spot on the thing. There we go. Auburn Auto Group. When it comes to selection and service after sale, Auburn Auto Group been a premier destination for new and used car buyers for close to 40 years. Among their brands offered on Route 5 in Auburn, they got Chevrolet, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Honda, I had that correct, and then I second-guessed myself reading the brand names like an idiot. Let's do this again. Auburn Auto Group. When it comes to selection and service after sale, Auburn Auto Group has been the premier destination for new and used car buyers for close to 40 years. Among the brands offered on Route 5 in Auburn include Chevrolet, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Honda, Toyota, and Subaru. Thanks to a wide range of makes and models, you're sure to find a new or used car at Auburn Auto Group. There we go. Nailed the dismount. Kind of went into day two. It's been a busy day around here, for me anyway, and I guess for everybody else, technically speaking. But
got some good video work in today for you.
Yeah, Kyle Petty interviewed him a couple weeks ago for his charity ride across America. They came through today. Got some video on that. So, I didn't even realize when I got back, I'm like, I need to eat my lunch. I had a nice little Southwest bowl, and I spilled a little bit of rice on my shirt.
So what was their drive today?
So they went from Niagara Falls to Clyde, their fan stop in Clyde, which looked pretty well attended, so I'm really happy to see that. And then from Clyde to Watkins Glen, then Watkins Glen to Corning. So pretty good little jaunt for them. Let's start with the NBA, Nick. I know
NBA's been great.
Yeah, I know it's probably the one bright spot for you currently at the moment. Don't you frown?
Mike Sullivan is the Rangers manager.
Well, that's true. It's been a pretty good. Got
manager on my mind.
It's a fantastic. Yeah, we might get to that later on. That's more out of principle at this point. But hey, I'm gonna put my hand up. Not to say I don't think I didn't expect the Knicks to at least get a game. But hey, hand up. I thought this was gonna be Celtics pretty much running roughshod this series. There was a lot, and I know Knicks fans. I'm not too sure. I think you're in the middle on it. Like you see it where there's some whatever. I wasn't a fan of a lot of things I saw in that Pistons series for the Knicks, right? And
understandable.
I think you go up against a team like Boston, who the Knicks, for better or worse, struggled with all year. to certain degrees.
Boston, Cleveland, and the Thunder.
Kind of just one of those things, right, where it's like this is probably not the second round matchup they were really banking on. That being said, man, did they go out there and just take care of business game one? And look,
Let's start off pretty slow.
there are things with Boston that we can kind of get into a little bit. I'll go ahead and say, and even Jaylen Brown brought it up, I guess, in his post game stuff. You can't be shooting 45 threes and like miss the amount that they did. You got to find other avenues, and they just didn't. I expect they will probably at least explore that, but for the Knicks, you jump out, you get one in Boston, which is probably what they were hoping for anyway. And now you probably go into game 2, which is later on tonight, obviously Wednesday for us here talking live and recording. You go into game 2 with that game already in pocket, and now you're kind of hoping you can do what the Pacers did to Cleveland, which we'll get to obviously here in a little bit further down the line, but you hope you can, frankly, just pull the outright upset. And I think it's weird that I'm phrasing it this way, but I think you look at Indiana and you go like, okay, like we can actually go ahead and do this. If they can do it, we sure can.
Yeah. So I think we got 4 great second round matchups here in the conference semifinals.
Yeah.
We're 5 games into the second round, and the road team has won every single time so far, which has kind of been crazy.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah.
Especially those 4 teams were looked at as pretty, like the Thunder, Cavs, Celtics, and even the Timberwolves, even with their seed, were looked at as some of the better teams in the league.
Yeah.
And the road teams have gone in and won the first 5 games of the second round so far. And for the Knicks to come back down 20 was very impressive. To hold Tatum to just one made field goal in the fourth quarter and overtime was impressive. I mean, a lot of that was great defense for the Knicks, making them shoot tough shots, the 45 missed threes that they had. And a lot of it was just dumb shot selections by the Celtics.
Well, but that's the interesting thing is and you have to take it with a grain of salt. Ryan Russillo, I was listening to him, and he said he charted it, and he said it was like well over half of the threes were actually what the NBA in their metric would consider a good shot. And so it's like you sit there and you kind of just go like, which end of the stick is it, right? Is it incredibly lucky or incredibly unlucky? I think it's somewhere in the middle. There were certain things where, like the one that sticks out to me, and I know this is like pinpointing, like obviously the exact moments that the Celtics lost and the Knicks won, but like that final inbound play for Boston, cross court, Jaylen Brown gets it, and he frankly goes into probably what he muscle memory, right, where it just swings it low. And Michael Bridges, who had a fantastic final few minutes there in that game, who, look, last week I was on the show kind of more or less eviscerating, not so much him, but Thibodeau, right? Where it's like,
it's a big steal.
He gets the steal. He did a lot in that moment.
That game.
Yeah. And it's just moments like that where, like, I don't think they turn the whole tide of a series by any means.
No.
But you can't, like, if you're down 0-1, like the Celtics are, like, you can't allow the Knicks now to go ahead and in this game, win or lose, stack a couple more of those up. Because then you go into MSG where, I get it, there's going to be Celtics fans there. You ain't going to hear them. Mm-hmm. Right. And I guess you can make the same case for TD Garden. Like, I'm not stupid, but like, you're going into probably about a hostile environment that we can see in terms of a big venue for the sport. And that to me is the key kicker now in this series, where it's like, okay, now your Boston's playing the split element, and you're hoping you get back to Game 5 where it's best of 3 and you have home court essentially.
A lot of pressure on them tonight.
For a title contending team, that's not the best thing to have.
I mean, to be down 20 points, to come back like they did, and to win that game. I mean, it was a great team win. I mean, yeah. You mentioned Bridges. Brunson was clutch once again.
Yeah.
OG had a phenomenal game.
I said this to my dad, and look, I know you won't agree with it. I know probably what I will call most Knicks fans won't agree with this. I think OG is probably the best player on the Knicks right now. And I don't know if it's really a debate.
He shuts people down.
Yeah,
he is an elite defender.
And to me, that's not even the thing. It's like, because of that, people underrate what he does on offense.
Yeah.
Like,
If he can start hitting his shots like he did the
Yeah.
other night, he's an unbelievable player.
yeah.
People aren't going to put it up there. He's like a Kawhi Leonard type player.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing right now too, where it's like clearly he's not 100%. I think that's not debatable. It's whatever.
Nobody really is this time of year.
But like it's very apparent that like Brunson's going through whatever, and it's affecting the way he plays for the most part, right? Karl Anthony Towns, he can't keep doing this every other game thing he's doing. I don't know what's going on there. I'm trying not to let my bias towards him affect the way I'm viewing it, but like that can't keep happening.
But he had a big key tip in at the end there.
Right? No, and look, I don't disagree with that, but like overall though, it was like one of those things where it's like again, like what is he doing?
He's been in foul trouble last
Yeah.
couple games. That's really hurt.
But like, and probably in talk of OG here, we're kind of forgetting a little bit about Josh Hart to a degree and stuff like that. But like,
he's just
like,
a phenomenal player.
but like OG to me right now is the actual engine in this machine.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a debate.
If you're handing out game balls, I'd give it to OG
Yeah.
in the first game for that win right
Yeah.
there. Even though Brunson hit the big threes at the end, Bridges got the big steal, and but yeah, I'd give the game ball to
Especially
OG.
essentially you're playing small ball in that game.
And they're 4-0 on the road in the playoffs this year, which
Crazy.
is hard to win a road playoff game
Yeah.
to begin with, and to win 4 straight like that to start is unbelievable. And you can say what you want about the Celtics. Yeah, the Knicks won by 3, and if the Celtics had just hit a couple more threes, they would have won the game. I'm putting this on the Celtics. If you had just taken the ball inside a couple more times,
No, and that's what Jaylen Brown said.
just go inside a couple more times, you might have won this game. The Knicks played phenomenal, but there's part of me think the Celtics blew this game the way they shot them.
Oh, I don't think there's a way that you can't have that be part of the conversation either, though. Look, like we said, like Jaylen Brown even said it himself, where it's like we needed to draw up something for interior stuff, like.
And he was 1 for 20 or something? Crazy.
I mean, him and Tatum were if Tatum didn't have the first quarter he did, like we're having a very different conversation too right now.
And another big key element was KP going out.
Yeah.
With a flu or something?
Something, yeah.
Illness or something?
Yeah.
If they don't have him, that's a big loss.
Yeah.
Because he haunts the Knicks.
Yeah.
Kills them. And
Right.
Horford just,
Yeah.
in the crunch time, Horford, he collapsed a little bit.
Yeah, but the tough part with him is like on offense he had a couple good looks and they just, I mean, you're talking like we see when we cover high school, right? We're talking like fractions of a centimeter and it clanked.
But I'm not a big Joel Mazzulla guy to begin with. For him to go out there after the game and say, we only took a couple bad shots is ridiculous. Because they took a lot of bad shots.
And, I mean, he's been like that. It's one of those things where, like my dad's a Celtic fan.
I heard he doesn't like Mazzulla.
As I say, he tolerates him. It's one of those like.
He doesn't like Tatum as much, does he? He gets on Tatum a lot.
Yeah, but there's. I think the main thing with Mazzulla, and I don't think it's any surprise, I do think he's a good coach, but I think there's over half the league gets good coaches at this point.
He's got a great team.
I think there's a lot of heavy lifting going on from the team, and they do a lot of times, like we saw in Game 1, like we've been talking about, a lot of shooting themselves in the foot. So, speaking of shooting yourselves in the foot, coaching and all that,
Cleveland.
kind of mentioned a little bit, right? Indiana's up 2-0. They go into Cleveland. They get both games. Last night's game on Tuesday was about the most insane, I'm going to call 18 minutes of basketball from about halfway through the third quarter to the end. And I got a lot of Cavs people in my life. And I told them to get it out last night to me because I ain't going to put up with it today, essentially. I know they ain't going to like this because the guy just got an award, Kenny Atkinson. I don't know what the hell you were doing in those final 18 minutes, man. There's a lot of that's going to fall.
Are you
square
saying
on
hot
him.
seat?
No. Come on now. But I went into that game last night, and I told a couple people, I'm like, look, the way the Cavs are going to win this game is, frankly, allow Donovan Mitchell to essentially be what he was last year. Let him just take all the shots. Everybody else will go fall in line at that point after. And for 75% of that game, they did a great job of that. And it just went off the rails. Look, Max Strus played good for him, and they can say what they want about injuries, but like you're up 20 on a team with those guys with the injuries being out. It's pretty inexcusable to me in the grand scheme of it.
Here's what I'll say about the series. As much as I don't really care for Cleveland, there is not a shot in hell I'm rooting for Indiana in this series.
I hear you, and I'm in the same way, but like I think the series has been flipped on its head now. Don't like put it to you like this from the basketball standpoint of it, right? Let's take the bye season side out for both of us. From a basketball standpoint right now, what does Cleveland have that's going to make them better than Indy right now? Because Indy's now going back to their court. They technically have the home court advantage now. If you look at it from the number side of it, they have 3 home games compared to Cleveland's 2 remaining if they go a full 7.
I know.
So it's just one of those things to me where it's like this thing's on its head. Cleveland's not got to dig themselves out of a hole, which they haven't had to do pretty much all year in the grand scheme of it.
I'm going to go on a little bit of an Indiana rant.
Go ahead. I'll let you cook.
Well, how many people in their last 2 Eastern Conference semifinal series, how many people have been out playing against Indiana? We had 3 guys for the Cavs yesterday. Mm-hmm. We had Garland out the first game, which I don't know why Garland's not out there. How bad is your toe?
Well,
get out there.
You can continue.
Get out there, Garland. It's just Indiana. And Halliburton is a wannabe all-star and always will be. He's a bum. I used to like Rick Carlisle, but after he was spending all night to the crack of dawn looking up how many plays were against the Pacers, against the Knicks, had all these complaints against the refs, he's out of there. I don't care about him. There's no shot I'm rooting for Indiana. Indiana has been lucky. Cleveland can still win this series. I don't care that they play in Caitlin Clark's house the rest of the way. They are going to win this series, Cleveland, because they're going to wake up. Garland's going to, stop being a little baby. He's going to get out there, and they're going to beat this trash team, Indiana Pacers. I'm sick of them. I am just sick of them. Obi Toppin is still on the bench because he's a bench player. Halliburton is the most overrated player. Overrate that. And, there's no shot I'm rooting for Indiana. I hate Halliburton. And Cleveland is just the better team. They got the better coach. They got the better fans. They got the better city.
But again, take this bye-season side out because I'm with you on that stuff. But, you can't sit there, though, and tell me that Cleveland's not just clearly behind the 8 ball now.
I mean, it was going to be so – yes, they blew that game yesterday. Blew it. But it was so hard, especially when you don't have no Garland, no Mobley, and no Hunter.
Now I'm going to interject. The Garland thing is getting overblown. They're a better team without Garland on the floor. The numbers back it up.
Hunter's a big loss, though.
Hunter is a big loss. Mobley is a big loss as well. But the Garland thing is overblown to me. Obviously, I'm going to entertain the Hunter and Mobley stuff. I'm not dumb to that. I am just saying, though, even without those 3 on the court, they were up by 20. And they blew it. They can't use that as an excuse in my mind yesterday. They cannot. Not when you get up by 20. Not when you were dominating like the way they were for 75% of that game. Can't. Refuse to allow it.
I know. It's a crushing loss. And it makes it even worse for me to see Halliburton make the shot.
But that's why, to me, I look at this now as Indiana's got all the cards. They just do.
I know. They got 3 home games. So 5 games left, potentially. I mean, they just got to win a couple home games. They're going to win the series. But, yeah, it's crushing. You never want to be the favorite or the better seed and lose your first 2 games at home. It's hard to overcome that.
Yeah.
And they got a big hole to climb out of. But I think they can go into Indiana. If some of these guys play, it's like Mobley and Hunter going to play the next game.
I mean, I don't know. I would assume. But,
at some point, you got to stick it. You got to try. You got to suck it up and get out there. And Because if they don't, you get down 3-0. That's the death sentence, 3-0. No team's ever done it.
Yeah, I mean,
But it would be something if the Knicks went up 3-0 because we've seen a New York team blow a 3-0 lead to a Boston team.
we have. So
I will never say that series is over until the Knicks actually win it. But
you need to see them actually get across the finish line.
but it sucks for Cleveland because they've had such a great season, and this is how it ends. That'd be terrible.
Out west, pretty hectic as well, to say the least. Let's go with the one that's more fresh, I guess, because it just happened yesterday. First off, did you see any of the Warriors and Timberwolves game last night? Okay. So you missed most of the rock fight, and that was some atrocious basketball. That was some, as I would say,
First quarter wasn't pretty either.
Basketball terrorism was there for 48 minutes.
It wasn't the highest scoring game in the world.
No, it wasn't pleasant to view. But the main takeaway from this, Curry out for sure for a week here, the way it seems. To that end, you definitely feel like the Warriors get lucky getting that game last night against the Timberwolves. That being said, it's probably the worst we've seen the Timberwolves play in a pretty good stretch now. Really intriguing seeing Chris Finch, the head coach, hold Anthony Edwards accountable at the end of that game last night. And I don't disagree. He was atrocious in the first half. It's not like the second half was exactly... I mean, it was better. I don't want to act like, him finally getting going was not good.
Yeah.
It was just more, like he said, like, this is a playoff situation here. Like, we got to... I suppose maybe unlike Boston to a degree, right, where it's the players are saying it, not the coach, let's figure this out here. This is the one series now to me where I look at and I'm just like, I suppose on paper, I would be really surprised if Minnesota didn't get this thing just done now. Could be wrong, but it's crazy how one player just really dictates the view of this series to me anyway. Could be wrong, obviously being a Heat fan. I know a little bit about playoff Jimmy pretty well, and he did pretty well in the absence of Steph last night and everything like that, but I just... this is a Warriors team that without Jimmy / without Steph just never looked great all year.
Yeah.
So it's just a tough prison to view the Warriors getting another game or at least dragging the series along to where Steph comes back. It's just a hard prism to really kind of view it through.
Well, what's scary about the NBA playoffs, every game's different.
True.
There's adjustments made, and Timberwolves are going to have to make some big adjustments for the second game because you don't want to be in the same situation. All these teams could be in that situation that the Cavs are in right now.
Yeah,
if the Thunder, Timberwolves, and Celtics don't win these next games, they're going to be in the same spot, down 2-0 when you lose both your games at home. And that's just so hard to come out of. And that's why it's a must-win for all these teams, even the Celtics.
Yeah,
it's a must-win. They cannot go down 2-0 going back to Madison Square Garden, even though the Knicks haven't been playing great there at times. But going back to the Timberwolves series, people look at Anthony Edwards, as like he's been taking out superstars. He took out Jokic, he took out Durant, took out LeBron, and now he's thinking about taking out Steph Curry here, even if Steph Curry doesn't play. But it's interesting to see how the Timberwolves respond from this because this is a Timberwolves team. You got to remember, they made a trade in the offseason to get rid of Cat, but it's still an Anthony Edwards-led team that made the Western Conference Finals last year.
Yeah.
So they want to keep getting better. They want to build off of that last year. Yeah. And they got to get through this team. This is a pesky 7-seeded Warriors team. The Rockets saw that. There's a lot of veteran leadership on that team. Don't care for most of the players on the team, but...
I was about to say, I don't know if slapping people in the head is leadership, but continue. I'll let you have the floor.
I don't care for the team, but that definitely plays a factor, though.
That one's going to be interesting for all the wrong reasons now at this point that we've mentioned. The other series out west is just you hope it lives up to what Game 1 does, essentially, right? Jokic has a I don't even know technically how you call it. Is it just like a double type thing here? Because it's a 40-point, 20-something rebound deal.
He's the best.
I mean, it's crazy. He's the best player in the world.
He actually showed some leadership the other night.
Well, he's had to, even though it's a job.
But
The Thunder, though, right? I think this series has all the hallmarks for 7, right? I mean, just the way Game 1 played out. You had Jokic going pound for pound and everything like that. This thing just screams 7 to me.
Yeah. Going back to the Timberwolves, still room for that Devo Randall versus the Knicks NBA Finals. Still room for that. All Villanova Finals, but
And Randall, redemption, revenge series.
Yeah. And Cat
too. My bad.
But yeah, I don't know if Jokic was showing leadership of like helping the team in a positive way. Maybe he was trying to like say we need to lose this game. I'm upset that we already moved on.
I miss Kentucky Derby.
I need to go back on my horses. Stop winning this game. Maybe that's what he's telling him to lose. But either way, Jokic is the best. I know SGA is probably going to win MVP, but the real MVP is on the other team.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't even have a head coach.
Disrespect to Dave Alderman.
But here they are. I mean, legit shot. They're up 1-0 over what seemed to be the favorite in the Thunder.
Yeah.
And here the Nuggets are. Another shot at winning another championship. And if they win Game 2 against the Thunder, they are my favorite to win the NBA title this year.
I mean, it's hard not to. There's a lot. I mean, the one thing with the Nuggets that worries me is just still the fact that the way the end of the season kind of went down with everything and stuff like that.
And you're wondering if Jamal Murray's a superstar.
By the way, I know you said about Obi Toppin, but I meant to bring it up technically last week. Kind of forgot to, but it's thrown me off anytime they cut to the bench for the Warriors and I see Kevin Knox.
I know, right?
I'm sitting there going like I thought he was like with Portland. Like what's going on here?
Yeah, I don't know when he really went to the Warriors.
Yeah,
but he's on there. He actually
like
played in that ball game.
It's like one of those like, is it purposely ambiguous? Like,
yeah, and I'm almost certain that even though the Thompson twins are gone, that was the same Thompson twin that played for the Pistons that was on the Rockets.
Are you saying it's like a Morris twin situation?
I'm dead sold. That was it.
Okay, yeah, you keep going. I'm gonna look when Kevin Knox went to the Warriors.
So what I'm saying is twins are creepy. Yeah. I think identical twins should just not be a thing. But I'm sorry, that's how birth works sometimes, you know. I'm not here to give you a health class, you know. It's just twins. But anyway.
Okay, hold on. Not to interrupt. I apologize. So here's how far off I've been. He hasn't been on Portland in 2 years.
Wow.
He was with the Pistons last year.
Yeah, I remember that.
But apparently, NBA-wise, he's been with Golden State all year. So, yeah. I mean, there's that.
Fun fact.
Guess so. I'm trying to
back to twins.
I'm trying to rip through to see if
you've got two athletic sons, they're twins. Put them on different sports. Do not make them play the same sport. We should not have the Lopez brothers in the same sport. I mean, come on. Robin wasn't even that great of a player. He should have been playing like
a disrespect.
He should have been like judo or something. It's just it's weird.
Wait, what'd you call it?
Judo.
Like judo chop.
You know, the Olympic sport.
Yeah. Okay. Just wanted to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, Robin should have done that instead of basketball.
No, that's not. Oh my gosh, sorry.
That should have been a sport. Anyway, that's my take on twins. Back to you, Paul.
Sorry, I'm looking up Kevin Knox stuff still because I just don't believe he's been on the Warriors all year.
I'll believe it. He's there. And
I feel like he had to have been like on the G League this year.
Had to. Probably played some good minutes down there.
God, he looks really different.
He does.
Is there a transaction
his
page?
hair?
Is there a transaction page on NBA.com like there is on MLB.com where when you click on the player profile it shows it?
I'm not sure, man.
This is whack. This is great theater of the mind stuff, by the way. Well, either way, Kevin Knox, Golden State Warrior. Yeah, hey, NBA playoffs. Been fun. Hopefully it remains fun.
Yeah. Not as fun as that Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, let's get to
Or Stanley Cup Playoffs.
Well, yeah. That was what I was about to say. You weren't entirely off. Yeah, that Blues-Jets game was peak. I mean, even the other Game 7 before out west, which both those winners would face each other, right? Dallas and Colorado was a great Game 7 too. Just didn't... It got overshadowed really quickly by that Blues-Jets game. And that's just quintessential playoff hockey, essentially, obviously, as we would say.
Oh, we got 3 Canadian teams in the second round.
We do. Toronto, Winnipeg,
And Edmonton.
Look at you. Even though you doubt Connor McDavid.
What about the Canucks? Where are the Canucks at?
Well, things didn't go as planned this year. Anyway. Yeah. You're already rolling with obviously second round stuff. But man, dude, those atmospheres for Game 7, just incredible stuff. And we had a couple, like I said, great games. And I luckily, I think Sean McDonough should be calling all Game 7s for all sports. Find a way to make it happen.
He's my favorite.
By far my favorite as well. Kenny Albert, I know, gets some... Doesn't probably get the flowers he deserves, but he was great on that call for the...
He's boring.
Shut up. Exactly. But he doesn't get the flowers he deserves. He was great on that call for the Blues and the Jets. Was great. But, yeah, I mean, Perfetti with a couple of those goals for Winnipeg, obviously, to get them to tie it and send it overtime, obviously. But even the one before, it was great. And it kind of felt like, frankly, when they got that goal to send it overtime, and I was surprised that it went as long as it did, right? We were kind of staring down the barrel of a third overtime, frankly, in that game. And I was surprised that the Blues made it as long as they did, and that's kind of like in the back of my head where I was like, damn, if the Blues hang on again here still, like it's hard not to feel that way, that they would get some of that momentum back. But man, when Winnipeg got that goal, it completely changed everything. Like that crowd was like piranhas.
NHL crowds, especially in the playoffs, are incredible. Just incredible. And those goals happen, it's like the loudest a sporting event can get, is it in the NHL. But, it's an epic choke, man. I mean, they were up 2 goals with, 45 seconds left?
Yeah.
3-1? They blow it? And then...
No. It was... Excuse me. No, it was 3-2. I think the one goal got scored with like pretty much a minute and a half left. Yeah.
All right. So a minute and a half. Still late.
Yeah.
And obviously you know about the goal that happened with 2 seconds left, 1 second left.
Yeah.
But like you said, they had 2 overtimes, basically 2 whole overtimes to score, St. Louis. They had their chances.
Even Winnipeg.
But Winnipeg finally capitalized, and they won the game, and that's one of the more crushing ways to go out, definitely. You're like literally, I've seen the videos of the St. Louis Blues fans watching it down. You're counting the seconds, 5 seconds to the next round, 4 seconds, 3, 2, and then the goal. Oh, it's so heartbreaking. But that's the love of the game. And Winnipeg, who Hellebuck has been not great.
Yeah, it's been an interesting series for.
But here he is, moving on, getting a shot to still continue this great season that Winnipeg has had. And they were the President's Trophy winner too, right?
Yep.
And that curse, man.
Curse survived first round, barely.
Barely, but that's certainly a curse. It's just that's the way that like we said, Stanley Cup Playoffs is the hardest to win, but they get to move on. You get refreshed, start, and let's see how they do against Dallas, right?
Nope.
They're playing Dallas.
Yeah, both Game 7 winners.
Because Vegas,
yeah,
Edmonton's going to be a hell of a series.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one too. East has already gotten pretty chippy in the immediate with Toronto and Florida. We'll probably save more on that discussion until next week because tonight's game is going to be
Toronto, though.
it's going to be mighty, mighty interesting.
Now, that would be the team if they break the Canadian curse. Toronto, if they win it.
Yeah.
Now, that's an alt.
There's a lot of stuff being broken there. Yeah, you mentioned a little bit there off the top, though, quickly. Mike Sullivan, new head coach for the Rangers. Obviously let go from the Penguins. Don't think it was his fault that the Penguins have been the way they have been, but that's all right. How do you feel about Sullivan coming in?
His track record of late has not been great, but that's could be another reason for that. What's going on with the Penguins?
I personally think it's another reason. Yeah.
But he won 2 Stanley Cups, right? With the Penguins? 2015, 16, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
And so he's got the track record of as a champion.
Culture.
Yeah, and you look at a team like the Rangers that need to get their culture back to where they were. I mean, just not that long ago, they were the trophy.
I picked them to win.
Trophy.
I picked them to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Yeah, and I picked the Devils apparently.
You did.
Yeah, I like the hire.
Yeah, it's good.
But I've liked the other hires too, with Gallant and Lafreniere there. But we'll see. Yeah. That's definitely we'll see.
All right.
He's like the highest paid NHL coach too, isn't he?
Got me close if he's not.
Yeah.
But hey, either way.
Your coach is staying though, Cooper.
Yeah, Coop. Thank God. Thank God. There were rumors.
And get rid of him.
To Utah. No, not get rid of him. They wouldn't have not firing him. But yeah, either way. Is there much to really talk about the Derby?
Well,
I mean, we kind of already talked about it to the extent there.
It's a 2-minute sporting event. I mean, what really can you dive into?
Well, you kind of ruined probably whatever we're going to say by it, the fact that Sovereignty is not going to run the Preakness.
That's just, you see that too.
Well, to be fair, the trainer was even saying post-race in the interviews, like, hey, don't know if this is actually going to happen. Like, let's pump the brakes.
And I know they're going to avoid that, they're going to push the races back to make them longer to get them ready.
Think so.
But that's what made the Triple Crown
if
so
they would have
hard.
done it, they would have done it by now.
That's what made it so hard was the 5-week stretch to win those 3 races. And if they move it back, I don't know, you're kind of ruining what it is.
I don't know. I don't disagree, but like also like this isn't the first time this has happened, so it's like whatever. I don't.
It's like it's one of those things you get disappointed when the news comes out, but once the Preakness happens, it's over.
Yeah.
You know, you move on from it. We watch a Belmont Stakes that has nothing at stake. But,
not for everybody, but yeah. All right.
But it was cool to see Bob Baffert back in the.
Sure, whatever you say. All right. Spoiler alert time. We'll allow what do we usually do? 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I don't know.
Did we say we're talking about Thunderbolts?
Well, we'll do a little bit of discussion on Thunderbolts. So
Thunderbolts with an asterisk. We'll tell you what the asterisk means for those people who've seen it.
No, I don't think we technically can.
You don't know what it means.
That one's a heavy spoiler that I don't think we should go near, admittedly. So, all right, it's been 10 yet.
No updates today.
Yeah, thank God. All right. Anyway, all right. I think this has been enough time. I want to start here. So we both obviously we talked about it on the podcast. We saw Captain America back in February. More or less, I know you enjoyed it a little bit better than me, but more or less we were both kind of like, meh.
We wanted more.
Yeah. I don't know. Hindsight's 20/20, right? I don't know if it's the fact I went into this with different expectations or what, but that was a genuinely like fun Marvel movie. I think it kind of needed it.
Yeah.
Now, again, I don't know if it's because you have these the anti-hero heroes here in this situation. I don't know if it's because they were essentially all de facto side characters, more or less, or however you want to technically classify it, in other movies, and now this is their main thing.
Oh, yeah.
But like that was just a genuinely bang-on good movie in my mind. It 2 hours long, could have been a hair shorter, maybe, but like it was just one of those things where I think it was one of the more unique Marvel movies we've seen recently. I think it set up a lot of stuff really well. But more importantly, I keep going back to it was just a genuinely fun movie.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a fun movie.
It was a good time at the theaters for 2 hours, without a question. I give it an 8.3 out of 10, which is pretty good.
For me, it was 8.5. Yeah.
And I thought it was funny, very funny.
Yeah.
Laughed a lot. It was just a feel-good movie. Liked the characters. I personally wasn't caught up. I did not. I don't think I saw the show or movies that all those characters were previously in. So I think Matt had, but I had not previously seen them.
Right.
So that was my first time getting to know them. And I thought they were a little good group. I think they can actually become a decent team.
The only character that I had what I would call, well, there's technically two. It depends how you view Bucky, obviously.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Which is, that one's a little bit different even within the movie technically. But Sentry was the only one that I knew really anything truly about that I've been exposed to, right? And for those
He's good.
for those who may not know, he's the main. Well, I wouldn't even technically see. This is the interesting part. I don't know if I'd call Bob the antagonist of the movie.
Bob.
Right. I don't know if he is the true antagonist of the movie as much as Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's more the product of it, and this is where definitely we're getting into some spoiler type stuff, but like, and that's to me that was like the cool part where it's like this was not a traditional, even in that sense, right? Traditional Marvel kind of style movie in the sense of like there's very clearly villains and there's very clearly heroes, right? It's a bit cloudy on both sides, frankly.
And this is a world that needs some new Avengers.
Well, yeah, now you're kind of really going into that deep spoiler that I don't know if we really should have gone near. But, yeah, it was interesting. Obviously, Yelena, definitely the head of the Thunderbolts. It's interesting. You kind of get a lot of people this was also a really good circle back movie, right? Like we get Captain America, who's what was he called at one point? Dollar Store Captain America, like outright called him that. Like it was a good circle back movement within some of those spheres, right? And really, my favorite part of the movie has to be the end. And I know, like that was a little bit of a talking point even through about that we had between us and Matt, and I liked it. It was a unique spin on kind of the end of these type of movies where, frankly, they weren't fighting actually anybody, right? Essentially, they were fighting themselves, and that's what I mean by like it's.
Yeah, there was no like essential bad.
Correct, right? And I think it's one of those things where it's. I know I said it this way Saturday, and I think I'm gonna walk it back to a degree. Like I kind of likened it to Thanos, essentially, right? Where I don't think it's actually all that far along necessarily. Whereas Thanos was this actual like physical being, essentially. Not saying that Sentry / Bob, clearly he is a physical being, but it's within the complexes of everything, right? Where it's a little bit different. I just liked how unique it was in that sense. I liked how kind of it was just a different perspective, and I think that Marvel really kind of needed it. We kind of go in now to Fantastic Four now in the summer.
Yeah, that's the next big one.
I think feeling better than I would have back in February for sure after seeing Captain America.
Yeah. It was just nice to have like a good movie. It wasn't just us who thought it. The ratings were pretty well on it, and Marvel really needed this.
Could it have helped too? It's like now, like we said, these are characters. The protagonists. They're all people we've been exposed to in theory to some degree. I think to me, it definitely helped probably the fact that they weren't main people though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like even through the paces of like the new Captain America, and even going back a little bit here, to go back last year to Deadpool even, right, and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if it's necessarily fatigue of seeing the same people now constantly over and over again, but like, Like the storylines got
It was nice to see some new people.
right. I think that helps more than anything. Right. It's just like you have fresh eyes on these people and on fresh people and stuff like that. And like I said, I don't want to give too much away on this end of things, even with the spoiler warning. But we obviously know kind of what's ahead. I don't know necessarily if it's for Fantastic Four, but I think it's more so for 2026 and the Doomsday plotline at this point. I think is what the tie up there at the end was for.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I think that's really more what it was for.
I didn't spoil nothing.
Well, you kind of did.
But yeah, looking forward to the Fantastic Four this summer. I think that will be a nice lead into these Doomsday movies, apparently. There's 2 of them coming out in the next 2 years, starting 2026. So, yeah, I think we got some good movies coming up, especially when apparently the DC universe is starting to take off.
Yeah, but they've been...
Apparently.
Well, we'll see how that fully plays out because they've been trying to do that for a little bit now, so...
Yeah, for a while now.
Well, Batman and Superman's really the only thing that consistently comes out of there.
It's
so.
just, if it does, like, take off, it'd be interesting to see have, like, 2 different universes.
My struggle with that is they aren't really in the same universe, so
No,
that's
they're not.
my thing.
They're 2 different universes.
Kinda.
Yeah, like, even though, like, technically
Yeah.
Fantastic Four is a different
Yeah.
universe, but they're 2 different, like, universes that can't come together.
Correct. It's not the main thing with Marvel, right, where I think people kind of forget is like, yeah, they may not be in the same universe, but it's the interwovenness of all of them, right? As kind of I guess we saw with Deadpool last year, but either way.
But overall, great movie.
Yeah.
Great movie. Highly recommend. If you're like a person that's kind of like been upset what Marvel has come up with lately, this will definitely get you back on track.
And then I think for us, movie-wise, for sure Friendship, for sure Fantastic Four, and I'm trying to coax you guys into seeing F1 with me. So.
It looked pretty good, the trailer.
Yeah, so I heard the runtime, though, for F1's a little bit rough.
Long.
Like 2:15.
Well, that's not too
It's not too bad, but like...
End game, like 3 hours.
Something like that, but like I don't know. I have a big gripe with movies overall. My only true gripe right now with movies, and this should probably wrap it up for us, but it's like we need to kind of cut. I feel like we need to cut time on films here. Like, can we get a movie that's like an hour and a half, hour 45, or are we just completely done? Like, come on, people. We need a solid in and out type movie back right now.
It's just like.
It's brutal.
The comedy movies is really it.
Yeah.
They're
And it's not, and it has not been a good. Oh man, it's been. I don't want to say truly 15 years because there's stuff from the 2010 to like 13 run that were good, but like really since the golden age, it has been like 15 years since like truly good banger like comedies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I miss the comedies back.
And those are the ones that usually are the in and out. So.
Yep.
Hey, that's all we're asking for.
We still just look at Superbad, those type of movies.
All right, that will do it for Fresh Takes per Day. Appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in. Nick, floor is yours. I know you have a shout out, and I think you'll provide us, like I said, with your out of principle update.
Oh yeah, shout out to stupid Bob Nutting.
I don't think that's the actual shout out, but
yeah, do what should have been done. Not only 7 months ago, whatever this last season ended, but what should have been done a couple years ago. It's getting out of hand. It's 3-0. As we go to the 9th soon, do something for those Pirate fans out there. Anyway, my real shout out is a double shout out.
Double shout out. Double.
Steve Crisani, my cousin, birthday tomorrow.
Happy birthday, 29.
Yes, shout out.
29.
Also on Fridays, Lindsay Kiefer's birthday.
29.
Yeah. Shout out Lindsay, Justin Kiefer's wife, my cousin. Justin Kiefer's cousin-in-law. Max is an adult. King Dakar is dead. And don't throw your peanut shells on the floor when you're at a baseball game. Like, come on. That's what you need to keep in mind. Double shout out Steve and Lindsay. Have a good one. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
That's right. Happy Mother's Day to my mom, your mom, everybody's mom. So,
My mama's so fat.
well, now you're going down an interesting path. Yeah, back at it again next Wednesday. We are nearing summer. We're still a few weeks away from really implementing those, but we are nearing the summer hour portion of events. So
It's almost here.
yeah, we're around a month away, give or take, right? A little more than that.
Go Don Kelly.
What?
Make him the manager.
Oh, I'm like, what's Don Kelly got to do with this?
Pirates bench coach.
I'm aware of who Don Kelly is. I'm just saying, like, what does he have to do with it? But yeah, hey, that's going to do it for Fresh Takes. Appreciate everybody for listening and tuning in. We'll catch everybody again next week. Enjoy the weekend, everybody.